Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteban Hours Weekend Reviews Sound Off. Today's topic is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. What does he want to do? He wants to authorize legal force against migrants. You heard me right. He wants to authorize legal force, electrocution against migrants. Anyone who's trying to get over that border wall, fry them to death. Interesting, right? For someone who wants to be the president of the free world. We're going to talk about this. But before we do, let's bring in author, activist, and co-host of the Esteban Hours Week in Review, Jeremy Baker, and co-creator and co-producer to the Week in Review, Mike Felino. Hey, guys.
What's up?
Hey, how
What's
are
up?
you doing?
Let me at him.
All right, this is your guy. Is it?
So just when you think this guy can't stoop any lower, wow.
Well, he's a very
scares me
small
about
person.
I've never thought that he can't stoop any lower. Ever since he decided to take out African American AP studies from the American history curriculum, that is low. That is stooping so low because you're not even allowing people who have ancestry connections to be able to be taught about their own ancestors. Very low, very low. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're discussing this gentleman right here, Mr. Ron DeSantis, the person who has been declining steadily in the polls, the person who has fired his campaign manager, thinking that that was going to achieve something positive for him in the polls. But news flash, it has not. He's still 20, 30 or more points behind you know who. And the other guys behind him are even in a worse situation than that. But okay. Yeah. Before we get into discussing this, let's run this clip that shows a little bit more about today's topic.
This makes my blood boil right here, man.
So we will use all levers at our disposal to win the fight. I think if you look at if somebody is breaking through the border wall, which they are doing in other parts, demonstrating hostile intent or hostile action, you have to be able to meet that with the appropriate use of force. I don't see how you can just let them do that and carve through a wall on sovereign U.S. territory with a backpack full of drugs. And so of course you use deadly force. Well, I mean, how would you let somebody just break into your house and do you harm? No. And I could tell you in Texas, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Okay. No. Nobody does that. No, nobody breaks into your house with drugs and
I know, right?
Break-in drug delivery.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. First, let's point out the obvious thing that if he were president and Greg Abbott is down there at Texas, that the most barbaric and butchering of Mexican people would happen. I guarantee it. Those two together would be literally the worst nightmare for Mexican immigrants. Now, let's point out some obvious facts. Let me get some statistics going here. Fentanyl seizures across the border have increased significantly. That doesn't mean more fentanyl is coming across the border. It means the people at the border are doing their jobs better and getting more drugs off from coming off or not from getting onto the streets of the country. Second of all, not almost 90% or even I think it's right around 90% of fentanyl coming into the United States is brought in at legal U.S. border crossings by U.S. citizens. Now, this guy wants to say that if somebody comes across the border with a backpack, okay, anybody who's ever bought weed or anybody who's ever had a drug dealer, has your drug dealer ever held up a sign while they're walking the block? I got drugs. Right. How the hell would you know if somebody has drugs in a backpack or, like Mike said before the show, a baby? And then you got some hillbillies down in Texas with the authorization to use deadly force.
Maybe they're gonna sick the dogs on them. Like
they will.
They will.
No doubt. I mean, this is another horrendous example of the assumption machine that is the Republican Party messaging position. You know, Ron DeSantis is trying to look like a tough guy. He's trying to, show how manly he is and how much he would fight those horrible people coming in to destroy our country. But it's all based on false equivalences, terrible logic, bad logical fallacies, the assumptions that anyone coming in are coming in to do harm. Again, they're ignoring the fact that most people that come here are coming here fleeing situations, seeking asylum.
Exactly.
Not everyone that flees their country flees on a road that leads to a U.S. normal border crossing. Now, I'm not advocating for illegal entry into the United States. What I'm advocating for is humanely apprehending people, figuring out why they're here, and not immediately shoot them because they happen to be a different color holding a frickin' backpack. Right. You can't just assume people are holding drugs because they're coming here. That makes no sense. It's just more scare tactics, like drugs and Halloween candy and everything.
And not everyone, if any at all, coming across the border are murderers and rapists.
No.
As
I mean, the pictures that we've shown have been babies, women and children, pregnant women, people trying to just get a better life, and they're met with a field of razor wire and the saw blades on buoys. That's what they're met with.
You know, CNN did a documentary a couple of months ago. I'm not sure if you've seen this. They did a documentary on the process and the travel from Mexico or from one's country, whether it's Guatemala or Ecuador, all the way to the border. And it was quite interesting and sad, heartbreaking. To see the trials and tribulations that these people face just to try to get to freedom. And then when they get to the border, to be faced by all of this inhumane actions that are being led by some of our leaders, some of the leaders of our country. It's devastating. It's heartbreaking that these people have to go through this. They are trying to escape misery and destruct from their country, right? To now come to a country where they were told is the land of the free and where they will have better and more opportunities to be threatened with electrocution. It's shameful. It's shameful.
What you both brought up, the human aspect of this, and it's very interesting that one side of the debate tends to look at the humanity in people, why people are fleeing. You know, a lot of people, left, right, any person that's a parent, I am not a parent, but I assume any parent would do anything for their child. And you hear a lot from Moms for Liberty or any MAGA person, and well, we got to stand up for our kids. I would do anything for my kid. But then when someone does anything for their kid, you're going to authorize deadly force. This is just more performative dehumanization. It's a fascistic tactic. It's designed to do an us versus them mentality when them are subhuman. So it's obvious that you could just use any force necessary to exterminate the problem, right? It's not a far leap. It's not hyperbole. This is how we're going. And these people that are running for national office, these sick, twisted Republican governors that are going to try and bring this horror to the entire United States, what's next? Well, if they're in charge, it's not just the southern border. They'll put a wall up north too, right? And anytime anyone wants to come in to play a little hockey, they're going to shoot them. No, it makes no sense.
Right.
The assumptions, the logic are out the window with these people, and all it is hate and bloodlust.
And I was going to say that if he can come up with an idea to want to electrify human beings, can you only imagine as president what ideas he would come up to do against his enemies and his foes? I mean, it would be 10 times worse.
Well, what people seem to forget is Ron DeSantis was, let's just say, involved at a certain military base on an island where people are known for torture, where you would regularly, back in the George Bush era, see videos of people standing on bricks with wires attached to them electrocuting them. I mean, this man most likely, I don't know that he did, but he was stationed there and most likely oversaw some sort of inhumane treatment. And what did he learn from that? That's American. I'm going to bring that to the rest of the world.
If I'm not mistaken, he was a lawyer in the army.
Yeah.
Jago.
Yeah, he was a legal advisor.
yeah.
They came to him and asked him, like, what is legal torture and what is not? Like, that's
whatever you want when they're not
job was.
American, right? How many times did everyone
I mean,
say
there
that?
are claims that we can't corroborate, obviously, because it was from a prisoner inside that said that he literally watched them torture people and was laughing and smiling with the other guys about it. Like, he doesn't care. He's inhumane.
Right.
The guy is just a piece of shit. I mean, I hate to say it. But, I mean, let's look at the irony of it. He's complaining about drugs coming across the southern border. Literally in the last couple of weeks, pounds of weed have washed on the beach in Florida. One of the mayors in Florida was out on her boat, found a bunch of big-ass bundles of cocaine floating off the shores of Florida. I'm just saying, Ron DeSantis might want to take a look at his home state because the shit is falling apart. I mean, you got housing prices are going through the roof. Insurance companies are leaving in droves. Houses are going to be uninsurable at some point, or he's literally making the state unlivable, and he's destroying their main source of income, which is tourism. Why in the hell would I want that guy as the president of the United States?
In the meantime, he's bickering with Disney, Walt Disney World. He's bickering with them.
Now he wants to drop that.
The biggest financial supporter to the state of Florida for decades. He's bickering with them. This is
now he's trying to back off of that. He's trying to get out of that. He's like, all right, I'm done. Let's just forget about it. And they're like,
of course, because it's a losing battle. It's not helping his campaign. Many from his own side are telling him, drop it, you idiot.
Drop the woke. No one cares because it's not real.
I guarantee he's going to have an awful performance at this. He's going to have an epic bad performance at this.
A lot of memes are going to come from this Wednesday. A lot of memes.
You know what I think with this woke business? I think that if he was to continue to pursue this woke business, it would work against him because he's actually forcing people, Americans, to learn what the definition of woke means, which is exactly funny. What it sounds like. You are awoke or aware to your surroundings, to what is happening to you in regards to the social injustices. That's what it is. And the more who realize that, the more are going to be against what he's trying to sell. That's what
it tells you their mentality. They rather stick their head in the ground in their little tiny world where everyone conforms to their little fears and hate, and that makes them happy. They don't want to know anything else. They don't want to know that someone's different. They don't want to have to learn that someone might change their name, even though when people get married, they change their name and they have no problem remembering them. It's not about woke. It's about hate. That's all it is.
And when they bring their head up from the dirt, then they'll act like it never happened.
Yep.
It's funny because I think, I'm going to watch this tomorrow, but he's been told to stop saying woke and change it to left-wing narrative. That is his new term of choice. So anytime he says left-wing narrative, he's just saying woke.
They're not good at this. They're not good at this.
They suck. Awful.
They believe that the rest of the country is dumb as the extremist version of their supporters are. And they really believe that since it works so well, if we just get the right phrase, everyone's just going to fall in line and be sheep. And they don't understand, no, that's not going to happen.
I think it's funny.
Why they don't want young people to vote. They're trying to increase the
don't get me started.
And
that's
why
election interference right there. I mean,
why they're purging registrations and taking people off because they don't want people who know the truth and understand what's going on. They don't want them to vote because they know that they will vote against them.
Correct.
Well, I think what you said about the whole woke war or war against woke is he's actually making people more woke.
Yes.
Like constantly talking about. He's literally
He's bringing
defeating
attention to
his
it.
own purpose, man.
He's bringing attention to it because people are trying to go, all right, this guy's talking about woke. What is it? And then
What
when they
is
get
That
48
is why
definitions
I
and none of
looked
them
it
mean
up.
anything,
Yes.
they're like, oh, this guy's full of crap.
And I'm one of them. I had to literally go in a dictionary. Although I'm not an idiot, I kind of had the idea of what that word was, but I wanted to define it specifically. And I went into the dictionary and I read the definition, which is exactly what I thought it was. But if it wasn't for guys like him or Republicans as like him using that term or that word, I would have never done that. I would have never kind of realized, what woke is or what woke isn't. And if I'm doing that, I'm sure there are millions of other Americans who have done the exact same thing. And because most, if not all Americans are not stupid, as soon as they find out the real definition of that word, they're scratching their head and they're saying, why is he telling me not to be aware of what's going on? So if I see a police officer beating the crap out of a black person, am I supposed to, not be aware? If I see someone dying on the voting line because they can't get any food or water, am I not supposed to be aware? I mean, it's madness.
Well, they want you to assume that black person that's getting beaten deserves it, right? That's the assumption.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the woke Wikipedia. I mean, you can literally, and it's funny because they have this war against woke and they can't define it, even though you can Google it. It can literally be summed up in 4 words: awareness of social injustice. 4 words. It's not that hard.
Well, that doesn't
and when
exist.
You read that definition, why would you go, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to be aware of things. What?
Right.
The brainwashing is real. And the brainwashing is real.
The funny thing is that many Republicans don't believe in those social injustices, do they? They don't believe that they exist. So while everyone else is screaming and crying that there are many, many social injustices, the Republicans act deaf, dumb, and blind to it. That no, we are a perfect world in a perfect country, dealing with perfect people, and in no way is that true.
No. The only dumb people are them, are the Ron DeSantises, are the Republicans. That's it.
And it's sad to say that because we do need a 2-party system. We need a healthy 2-party system.
A healthy, you're right. That's
right?
A better way.
Functional multi-party system where all sides are represented equally, respectfully.
Yes.
Now there are political experts that say that there's a possibility that Ron DeSantis could drop out of this presidential campaign if this thing goes horribly wrong tomorrow, which I think is just going to implode.
That'd be great.
Because he's just going to bob his head and he's going to do the
woke. He'll drop the
Flappy Bird thing that Donald Trump does.
So it's funny you say that because the word dumb and Trump obviously are synonymous. But when you look at it in context with Ron DeSantis, he's just a micro version of Trump. But the worst part, right? He's trying to be Trump. He's trying to out-Trump Trump. If I could be bigger, more fascist, meaner, more aggressive, more absurd, more far right, more absurd, all of that. If I could do that, I could be better than Trump. But the problem is, and this is what's really pathetic about Ron DeSantis and the men like him, Trump is just better at it than you. And if Donald Trump is better at anything than you should go into a hole, close the door, and just starve yourself to death.
So are you saying, Mike, that Trump is better at being a scumbucket?
He is the best scumbucket. Many people are saying that. Many people.
I am calling it right now. This is where Chris Christie shines.
He's great at
debates. I think Chris Christie's still going to be. He's only at like 2% right now. Or whatever. I think he's going to be the nominee. I honestly think he's the only one that is the viable candidate to save if the Republican Party wants to save itself. He's the only one not attacking people on this woke bullshit. He's the only one actually talking sense. He's the only one actually pointing out Donald Trump's shortfalls, which is like a laundry list. Like how hard.
I hate to say it. He points out more of the Republican flaws, the Republican candidates' flaws than the Democrats. I mean, the Democrats are trying to push, what Biden has done, which is all legitimate successes. And if you really break it down, anyone with brains and the ability to process data will see that he has done things that have benefited Americans. But
he's downgrading. He is downgrading the Democrats because he's on the other side.
Yes,
but what he's doing that not many Republicans are doing. He's bringing attention to the faults of his own party.
Yes,
he's basically saying we want to lead and we want to govern, but assholes, get it together. We can't do it this way. And
I just wish,
if you please, would you leave damn Trump alone? That's what Chris Christie is screaming out to people.
I would respect a candidate if they would just give credit where credit is due to President Biden, for crying out loud. Because even Chris Christie will say, oh, yeah, Trump is this, Trump is that, and then Biden sucks. He's doing a horrible job.
Because even he can't get out of it.
He's not. You know what I mean?
It's Coke versus Pepsi. But that's all it is.
Going back to DeSantis, I'm glad we were talking about his debate tomorrow, and this is why I think it's going to be an absolute tragedy. So before we go too much long, let me play this video real quick that goes over his just amazing strategy.
Yeah, and guys, if you recall, his debate was yesterday, not tomorrow.
Oh, was it yesterday? Oh, I missed it then. Damn it. Why did you guys tell me that? I thought it was this. I thought it was tomorrow.
We wanted you to go on a little bit. Just talk a little bit more.
Why did you guys stop me, man? I thought it was tomorrow. Damn it, I missed the whole thing. Well, anyway, here was the strategy then.
It shows it in a memo outlining potential strategy for next week's Republican primary debate. Allies of the governor of the state where leprosy is returned urged him to defend Trump if he's not there against attacks from Chris Christie, and instead go on the attack against embarrassingly solicitous Trump defender Vivek Ramaswamy.
Real man of political genius. You're running against a guy who has just been indicted for the first time, faces 90 criminal felony charges, and your and you're behind, what, 39 points in the polls. You need an absolute breakout if you want to win this nomination. And what do they come up with? Defend Donald Trump and attack Vivek.
So, yeah, that was their brilliant plan to mesmerize the crowd at the debate.
So their plan is to be a stooge, because if you're in a debate, assuming that you're debating real things, which they aren't, or have real opinions and policies, which they don't, but the whole point is to win the debate so you can stand out and hopefully get votes, which will lead you to be the candidate in the general election. Your job in a debate is not to help the other guy, and especially a guy that already hates you, that isn't going to support you if you happen to be the nominee. So the advice that these Republican strategists are giving him is, if you're drowning, drink more water, and hopefully you'll get to a neutral buoyancy. What is happening with these people? Their brains don't work.
What are you guys talking about? Look. Can you see it?
Yeah.
It says the Republican primary debate is August 23rd from 9 to 11 p.m. That's tomorrow. I was right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gold star. Gold star.
Yeah. Why are you guys messing with me today? God, killing me. I was waiting for juicy material. How am I supposed to get the material if I can't watch the stuff?
Well, there'll be material.
So, no. So, yeah, I don't think he stands a chance. Vivek Ramaswamy is, I guess, the best next hope.
Well, he's the one that is pushing the raising the voting age, specifically because Gen Z saved all of our asses in the primaries, right? The last primaries. Gen Z came out and voted, right? Every Republican is attacking everything Gen Z stands for, being proud of who you are, trying to be compassionate, and just getting through this crazy life that past generations have handed us. And Gen Z are the ones that are out making the TikToks, and I know I said that like an old man, but you know what I'm trying to say. They're the ones out there. No, but really, they're the ones out there hitting the streets with the facts, going in the faces of these MAGA people, going at candidates. And Gen Z is the one that hopefully will save us. And guess what? Millions of them turn 18 before the next general election. So the more you attack them, the more you go, hey, right before you're about to vote, we want to remove that. They are so out of touch. it's terrifying how out of touch these people are. All they have is brainwashing and lies, and it's not working as much as they thought. The loud minority is getting louder, but they are a minority. So
I believe
hopefully that means something.
I believe it's an area between 15 and 18 million new voters will be ready to go toward the primary. I mean, they want to change their voting age from 20 to 21 to 25. I mean, they're terrified.
And since you guys are talking about Gen Zs, I'll bring up really quick. We will be interviewing an organization by the name of Dream for America, and that's with the number 4. This is an organization that was founded by Gen Zs, 20-year-olds, and run by 20-year-olds. It is an organization and activism where they are trying to get more and more 20 and 30-year-olds out there involved in politics, or at least registered to vote for the 2024 election. They will be on the show in the upcoming weeks to share with us their plans on how they're going about doing that. And they're trying to do this in every state. So stay tuned for that, for sure.
Nice. Look, there's a reason they want to get rid of TikTok and get rid of social media or curtail it, any way they can. Look at what China does. Look at what North Korea does. All these states that are limiting the ability of their citizens to organize, which is a word Republicans hate, right? They don't like when people get together and discuss what's better for themselves. Republicans prefer to tell people what's better for themselves.
Right.
So they're terrified of these, not kids anymore, but young adults who are motivated and angry that these people on the national stage are trying to destroy their rights, destroy their freedom, and just flat out insult them. Yeah.
They're too woke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
who do you think is going to win the debate?
Chris Christie.
I agree. I'm going Chris Christie. The dude can spit fire as far as.
He's a good debater.
He is. He's a master debater, actually. I got it. I snuck it in finally. I've been waiting to use that joke forever. I finally snuck that shit in there. Sorry.
Well, I say no one. I say no one is going to win. I believe that even though Trump is not there, he's still going to dominate the debate. Even though Fox News is doing their best to cipher out all of the Trump folks that are there to defend Trump, just like they rescinded the invitation to Don Jr. and Kimberly Guilfoyle. I believe that he's still going to suck up a lot of oxygen in that debate. And I believe that the candidates, the remaining 8 candidates that are going to be up there, they're going to be talking more about Trump and his indictments and what he's going through and how the Americans should be treating him, and the Justice Department and the Biden administration, more than what can or will a Republican candidate do or propose for the American people.
Agreed.
Yep, I agree completely. I think it's going to be a shit show. I can't wait to watch.
Well, I think you're completely right about that. I mean,
it's my official prediction.
Christie's not going to win in the sense that it means anything, but they're going to start babbling about Trump, and he's going to point it out. And once they get attacked, because these are fragile little tiny men, and I believe there's a couple of women there, so I'll give credit that the Republicans actually allowed a woman to share the stage with them. But Chris Christie is going to mop the floor with all of them when they do nothing but talk about Trump. And as Esteban said, the case against him and the DOJ, no one wants to hear that anymore. The people that are going to tune into the debate are not the MAGA base. The people that are going to tune into the debate are the ones that are going to be like, maybe they'll tell me something that could sway my vote.
Right.
That's what we're dealing with.
And don't forget that Trump is going to be on with Tucker Carlson simultaneously at the same time. Now I don't know who's watching that. I'm definitely not watching that, because what else is he going to say that he hasn't already lied about? So I won't be watching that. However, at this very moment, he's probably going through the necessary actions that anyone goes through when they're arrested, booked, a mugshot, and everything down in Georgia, Fulton County, Georgia. So we can stay tuned as to the updates on what's happening with that too. I wonder if he's gonna have a Joker smile on his mugshot. What do you think?
God.
I can't wait to see the memes Mike makes for this one.
Look, keep in
We're
mind.
gonna get a collection.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's getting mugshotted though,
Oh,
not
yeah.
just Donald Trump. All 19 of them are getting mugshotted.
No, what I think
Rudolph
he's
He should
gonna
get
Giuliani.
T-shirts with all.
He's gonna create an NFT card with his mugshot.
He's gonna grift. He's gonna
would
get
do
out of.
that.
He's gonna
He
get
will-
up
He
looking.
will do that. Look, the
Yeah.
best part about this is if you're really looking for must-see television, it's not the Republican debate. It is absolutely not Tucker and Trump, which is just a monkey that was in a car accident with a handler pushing him around. That's really what that's going to be. But if you want must-see TV, the arraignment of Donald Trump and all his cohorts are going to be televised.
I ran a
It's
poll.
going to be fun.
I ran a poll this week on Twitter asking what will you be watching Wednesday evening, and it was either the Republican debate or the Tucker Carlson interview with Trump, or neither. And of course, the majority, I believe it was by 86%, said neither. And I'm in that 86%, really.
Ditto.
But Mike's right. It's just going to be him blabbing about the same stuff. I mean, his lawyers must be at home like, wham, wham, just bashing their heads on their desk like, no, stop talking, please.
I bet they won't watch it.
Taking a bat and batting themselves in the head.
For real.
They won't even watch
seriously?
it. They're not going to want to see the disaster. They will not be watching it. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
They'll be at home crying under the sheets.
So I have a tweet here that I wrote this week in regards to Ron DeSantis. And here's what it says. Hey, fiscal conservative Floridians, your governor, Ron DeSantis, is prancing around the country spending your money. Over $13 million and rising of your taxpayer dollars, doing something that he has absolutely nothing to do with you. And he sucks at it. Does anyone see a problem with this?
That's pretty well put.
Republicans don't see a problem with embezzlement. I mean, that's how they think. That's what they think a return on investment is.
They care
Where
about
did he learn it,
Hunter
right?
Biden's
If it's good enough for the big guy, it's good enough for the little guy in Florida.
They care
Right,
about Hunter
but
Biden's
only
dick
them.
pics, but they don't care about spending and wasting taxpayer
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
Oh,
And that's why I used those two words, fiscal conservatives, because it pisses me off.
Yep.
When Democrats are in office and they're crying that crap, that no, our debt and our children, our grandchildren, but every time they are in power, they just spend money like nothing. But the biggest issue or problem with that is they're spending money on people who already have money.
I just thought
And they're complaining about the Democrats who are trying to make the lives of those who don't have money or could use a little bit more money, make those people's lives a little bit better and a little bit.
Before you talk, real quick, Mike, before I forget, I just realized, aren't they like investigating Biden for taking like $10 million in bribes? And DeSantis has spent more than that.
Well,
government money, U.S. money.
I don't remember the Biden part of it for some reason. I don't. But it's just absolutely stunning that you have a governor who is riding around on taxpayer dollars in limousines and planes to go to campaign stops, to go to I guarantee you the taxpayers of Florida paid for that trip to go to Texas at the border wall and preach fascism. But while he's doing that, he's stealing from him here. He's also sending businesses out of the state. He's also making sure that their insurance premiums rise. Ron DeSantis is doing nothing for Floridians except burn their money, throw it away, and use it on himself. He's a absolute archetype for a Republican, and Donald Trump is still better at him.
And
better
he's
at it.
burning down the state of Florida. burning.
He's burning it to the ground.
Florida, yes.
I mean, they got leprosy, dengue fever, the tropical diseases, which are now coming more and more north because, you know, climate change. But Florida is going to be the first place hit by all of that, and he's a champion.
Malaria,
don't worry
dengue,
about it.
Say,
just wear
leprosy?
some sunscreen. Leprosy, malaria, dengue fever.
Leprosy.
Yeah, that's some biblical plagues are coming to Florida.
Have you ever heard?
It is hell. It is hell.
Leprosy.
I'm done. I can't talk about him anymore.
I'm done. I'm done. Leprosy. And you know, you haven't heard not one press conference about that either.
Well, he won't allow it.
I haven't, about the leprosy and the malaria. My guess would be because he doesn't want his picture connected to those two words, so that
I feel
can go around.
I was just thinking, I'm sorry, I feel so bad for the people in Florida right now. God, I feel bad for those people. They're literally.
That was my next question. Do you feel sorry for Floridians, because they are the ones that voted?
They elected him, but they could not have saw this coming. There's no way they could have saw this coming.
I feel bad for the ones that would like to leave, whether they voted during a time that they might have just not seen the true monster and moron that he is. But I do know some people. I had family in Florida. I know people that live in Florida now. My boss, his son lives in Florida. He's trying to raise a family. I feel bad for the people that can't get out. It's not always that easy to move if you don't have a job, right?
No.
Everything in our life, our healthcare, tied to our job. So no one's leaving in the current climate with leprosy and COVID still floating around to go find and hopefully get a job with good insurance in another state. I feel bad for the ones that are stuck. I don't feel bad
because I have family down there too, a lot of family, and I know a lot of people down in Florida, and many of them will say they didn't vote for DeSantis, and they don't like what he's doing, and they don't agree with any of his policies. But what I don't see is where's the anger? Where's the passion to fight to reverse what he's doing, to fight to get him out of office? Okay, the next governor election, which is going to be what in the next 3 years or so. Mm-hmm. I want to see the passion and the anger of all the Floridians who do not like what's going on right now, because if it's not there, he's just going to win again, or someone else, another Republican who feels and believes the same things that he does, is going to simply just come and take over. Florida, if you don't like what is happening, stand up and stand up to the Republican machine that is swindling and doing all of the legal fraudulent things in Florida to keep them in power, doing away with books, and it's so sad. It's so sad. Who would have thought we would be talking about Florida like this in 2023, right?
I am shocked. I still am. I'm not shocked, but I'm shocked. And right. I don't know where to go from here, because one of the reasons I think you hit on something, like why we're not seeing the outrage. It has a lot to do with the Democrats and the lack of presence in Florida. They don't pour money into the state of Florida for their campaigns. They do what they can to hopefully win some local races here and there, but they are not pouring that much money into a red state.
And I don't understand that.
It's more purple now than ever, because the red voters are old and nuts, and they're just miserable, mean people. But the good ones, the good people of Florida need help, but they got to start screaming, because they're not screaming. And maybe if they scream loud enough, the Democrats will hear them and will help. I get the point that, Dems may say, well, it's a lost cause. Why put money in there? But if you don't even try, then it's definitely a lost cause. And there's so much money put into these elections, and so many
well-off multimillionaires and rich people. Are you really serious if you're gonna tell me that you can't find a wealthy person to be able to throw multiple millions of dollars into certain campaign aspects of Florida that perhaps the DNC won't do or can't afford to do? Is that what you're telling me? Because I don't believe that. I don't believe that for 1 second. Somebody who has $100 million sitting in their bank account freely to be able to just give and support should be able to lend a little bit, right? To donate a little bit of that to enforce the Democratic word down in Florida, to get more activists out there, to go knocking door by door, to put more commercials on air, to do more conferences and more parties. Why is that such a problem just because you believe it's leaning more red? It's leaning more red because the Democrats have not done their job fully and effectively as they should have for the last 5, 10 plus years. And that's my opinion.
I agree. We can end with that. I like that.
Yeah, that was.
There's
I'm
not
not
much
going
else
to
to
touch
say
on
after that.
Thank you, gentlemen. As always, it's been a pleasure discussing the nonsense that is going on in our beautiful, beautiful country. Today, we discussed the nonsense of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. I'm sure he will be of many, many more topic of conversations as we move forward. However, my final thoughts to you is, if you live in Florida, wake up. And if you are already awoke, let's do something about it. Call your friend, call your neighbor, hold hands. Let's do something about it. We have a whole year to come together to vote and turn the great state of Florida, blue. Okay, and let's do more in denouncing your governor, who's spewing a bunch of racist and hateful rhetoric that he apparently wants to spread around the country. But we don't want any part of that, do we? No, we don't. And many tourists who are not going to Florida are proving that every day. They are saying, we don't want any part of that. You know, I recently visited Florida a couple of weeks ago, and I have to say the aura there is different. The aura is not the sunshine state, if you will. Okay, and this is my opinion. People don't want to talk about things. They're too afraid to bring up any type of political conversation. They're too afraid to talk against DeSantis. Now, if he's watching, or any of his cronies, they're probably laughing and saying, then that's good. We're happy that that's happening. But is it really good? Because you're trying to run for president, which governs 50 states, not just one. So with that, I will say, do your diligence, love one another, be kind to one another, for tomorrow is another day. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Our next podcast would be the Esteban Hour podcast, held on Friday nights at 8 p.m. And this Friday, we will be discussing depression and suicide amongst our young people. We'll be interviewing someone who will be celebrating their first year anniversary, their 1 year anniversary of being depression free. And we wanted to interview this person because we wanted to show him that we are proud of him and we are encouraging him, all of us together, to continue his fight of depression, of staying away from depression and staying away from suicidal thoughts. That's this Friday. So I hope you join us then. With that said, if you have a goal that you achieved or accomplished today, don't forget to say to yourself, this is how